He who giveth gladly a goodly life leadeth, and seldom hath he sorrow. But the churlish wight is chary of all, and grudgingly parts with his gifts. Hi there, I'm Eric Word-Weaver Sjerven, Gothi of the Ridgar folk here in East Texas. I'd like to welcome you to the Raven's Call. This is a show where I ramble on about different heathen-related subjects. What you just heard is stanza 48 from the Informal out of the Poetic Edda, specifically the Lee M. Hollander translation. This is one you can typically find anywhere. It is my favorite of the translations, but that's because I like the poetic styling that Hollander uses. Some people find it a little off-putting, a little difficult to understand. If you're not a fan of the high and mighty like Hollander as far as the verbosity, you might check out Jackson Crawford's. It does an absolutely fantastic rendition of the Poetic Edda in general, and actually most of his translations are fantastic. Jackson Crawford really knows his stuff. So, the reason that I wanted to introduce that particular stanza today is because I want to talk about the concept of gift for gift within heathenry. All right? Now, this is specifically the reciprocity of gift giving. And that stanza kind of is just one of the many that talks about freely giving and what freely giving does for one. It talks about how someone who gives freely and is generous with his belongings will live a goodly life, will live a happy life, seldom hath he sorrow, because that is how you build frith. That's how you build friendships and alliances, doing for others. And we'll get to the details here in just a second, but building this relationship and then having the reciprocal feedback in, that really does play out well, and it really does work, and that leads to a good life. Now, the churlish wight, the one who does not give freely, the one who holds on to his stuff, is chary of all. He's not doing well, he's not happy, he's angry, etc., and he's mistrustful, distrustful, because he grudgingly parts with his gifts. He does not freely give, and so he has no ties, he has no frith built with anyone, because he's a stingy, stodgy old individual who does not let go of anything. This is a thing when it comes to heathenry, and I could go through here and pull tons of different stanzas that all mention gift giving, generosity, and the reciprocity of gift giving. Reciprocity itself, and you've heard me do this before when I talked about reciprocity within the social structure, as far as reciprocity of responsibilities. Reciprocity is one of the key elements of heathenry in general. It is to boil it down into a concept, it is the social obligation to exchange in like kind what has been given to you. So, this is all part of the social contract. This is something that we establish both with the sacred as well as with the profane. This is something that we've established with the gods. Our entire bloat structure, our entire ritual structure is built around gift for a gift. We give offering to the gods in hopes that they will find this a worthy offering, a worthy gift to them, and then they will respond in kind and reciprocate. They will give gift as well. Gift for a gift. You will hear this mentioned in heathenry all throughout, at least throughout the Midwest. I can't speak for the coasts, I can't speak for overseas because I'm not there. I can only speak about my grassroots, and I'm here in Texas. But I have dealt with people all throughout the Midwest, and gift for a gift is something we say. It's right up there with we are our deeds, or we live in saga times. These are all things, little catchphrases, buzz phrases that are popular in heathenry today, but gift for a gift is where we're at. Now, like I said, this exists in the sacred realm. Gift to the gods and goddesses and gods gift back to us. This exists in the spiritual realm. We gift to the Vetir in hopes that the Vetir will gift us with blessings. Okay? And when I'm talking about the sacred and the spiritual, the gift that we get in return from the gods and goddesses, from the Vetir, and from our ancestors, also in the spiritual realm, these gifts are luck. They gift us with luck, strength, main. They give us spiritual power, they give us blessings, and those blessings manifest in the form of luck. So, the luck givers. And so that's who we offer to. We offer to the luck givers. That is the sacred divine, that is the gods and goddesses, that is the spiritual divine, that is the ancestors and the Vetir. These luck givers, we offer to them, we give them gifts in hopes that they will gift us in return. And it is not a straightforward one-to-one thing. It is not like you're buying favor. You give an offering which is freely given, and then it is up to them to judge whether or not you are worthy to receive something back. So it's not like you're purchasing the favor of the gods. It doesn't really work that way. You still have to create an offering that is worthy and that will garner reciprocal attention. So it exists in those realms. What we're going to talk about, and I'll come back to those in future videos off and on, because it's the nature of sacrifice, and that is something I will do a separate video on, is the nature of sacrifice. But today we're going to talk about gift for gift within the cultural paradigm. Okay, this is the folk. Now, when I list off heathenry, when I describe it as a folk way of relationships. And that much I still hold to today, is that there are four main relationships in heathenry. It is our relationship with the gods and goddesses, our relationship with our ancestors, our relationship with the Vetir, and our relationship with the folk around us, our Innengard and our folk communities. Now, that boils down to the three main elements of heathenry that I've identified. That is the sacred, gods and goddesses, the spiritual, which is the ancestors and the Vetir, and then the cultural, which is the community, the folk, the Innengard. These are the three main areas of heathenry, the three main elements that make up our folk way, as I see it. And those four main relationships, because there's two within the spiritual realm, and even then, if you get into exploring the relationship of Vetir to ancestors, it's really just one relationship, because it's these spirits. It's relationship with the spiritual realm, it's relationship with the divine, the sacred realm, and relationship with the material or cultural realm. Yeah, but again, that's for another day. Cultural realm, we're going to pull forward, and we're going to talk here today about gift for gift within that context. Okay, you can go through the lore, and you can find examples in the sagas, in the Havamal, in the god stories, in the old folk tales, everywhere. Gift for a gift is there. Gift for a gift is exchanged. Friendships are built on gift giving. So let's get to the essence of why gift for gift is important within the cultural realm. This is how Frith is built. Okay? Gifts don't necessarily have to be material gifts. They can be gifts of time, attention, affection. Gifting is giving of yourself to them. Now, there is a formalized aspect of gift giving in the material realm. Okay? When you are talking about, say, sumbul, if you're talking about gifting between tribes, or gifting from a king to his vassals, if you're talking about gifting from a chieftain to his men and within the tribe, things like that, this is something that is very formalized based on the individual cultural paradigms at play. Not every culture was exactly the same on how they played it out. In general, there was strong reciprocity expected in the social construct when it came to gift giving. If a king gave, say, a sword to another king or to a visitor, what he is giving him is a piece of luck, a piece of strength from the king. He's giving him favor from the king of this kingdom. But he expects something in return. That exchanged gift is loyalty, it's friendship, it's political bindings. And so when you get into the inter-tribal or inter-kingdom aspects, you are dealing with politics, heavily politics in that respect. But if you boil it down more to the base elements, away from some of the politics, you get down to the actual essence of what's occurring when you give a gift. As we interact with one another in our lives, we share weird. We share the patterns of our lives and the energies that make that up with each other. And every time that we interact with someone, our patterns touch. So the ripples in our well affect one another. Looking at Weird Norlog as far as the metaphor of the well is excellent in explaining the timeline aspect of Orlog and weird. But when you're looking at individuals, when you're talking about how weird interacts in the real world as far as the weird of now, weird itself, not necessarily Orlog, which comes before, but weird, which is in the now, the forming of Orlog in process. It's all one big process. This is the web of weird, and in this now, everyone is connected. And as we go through, we tie the patterns of our skein to one another as we interact. We share weird when we have meaningful interactions with each other. When you punctuate a meaningful interaction and formalize it with the exchange of material goods, you create an anchor point, a concrete point in time and space that both of you can look back to, that both of you remember, because now there is a memento of this exchange, of this interaction. You have just created a fixed point in weird. You have tied those patterns together in such a way that your energy has gone to them, their energy has come to you, and you have created this. At least you've initiated it. When you give a gift, you initiate the tie. When they give a gift in return, they complete the tie, and then the pattern is made stronger, the interweaving of the patterns. You can go through your life living next to someone, and yes, you share weird to a certain extent with them because you blend in and out of life together, Neighbor that you hardly know. You do not share much weird with them other than the fact that you share space and interact on occasion at the fence line. That kind of thing, But a lifelong friend, somebody who even goes away for a while and then comes back, is so interwoven into your web that they will always be a part of your life. They will always have an impact on your life. If you want to think about how much someone is tied to your weird, imagine them ripped from your life. And how much does that pull on the skein of your life? If you imagine somebody who's a next door neighbor, you barely know them, you hardly know them at all, and if they were to just disappear one day, how much would that actually affect your life? Not how much do you focus on and obsess on it because it's a mystery, etc., etc. How much does it actually pull an effect on your life and the change in your own social interactions? Now think about it as your best friend from high school who just disappears one night. How much of a pull is that on your life? How devastating is that? It's because they are so ingrained into your weird, into the pattern of your life. Gift giving creates those solid ties. It strengthens that bond and ties those patterns together even stronger, so that our weirds, our luck, continues to move together. It continues to be tied together. The more you tie with someone else, as their luck grows, as their weird grows, it strengthens yours as well. It pulls you along. It's active force. Weird is not a passive thing. It's an active force in life. And so as one pulls, the other gets pulled along with it. And if you're both going strong, then you continue to build in good ways. If you're trying to build one way and they're not doing well, and then it's going to pull down and you're going to stagnate. This is what happens when you bind weird with someone that you shouldn't. So all of that aside, to come back to that at another video, gift giving creates these focal points that create these ties. Gift giving cements a point in weird that is then recorded into Orlog. And if they do not respond well to the gift, they dishonor you, whatnot, it can actually break that tie, it can tear that tie. Gift giving is an attempt to tie those. The reciprocal gift does indeed tie the knot. And then the more you give in exchange with each other, the more little threads you exchange, the more you tie your patterns together. Because each gift is just a thread. Unless, of course, it's a grand gift with deep meaning. Then, of course, it can be a thicker thread, but it's still just a thread. The more you give, the more threads you have, and the more threads you have, you begin to build a rope. And that will really tie you together. This is part of how Frith is born, the exchanges like this. And it's not just gift for gift is kind of an overarching thing. It's a material element of the reciprocity. It's a physical example. We exchange time, we exchange affection, we exchange attention, all of these things. and it is still in that reciprocal give and take, because what's actually being exchanged is the attention, it's the energies between each other, and it is that piece of our luck, that piece of our weird that we're exchanging with them. Sometimes we give it the physical form of a gift, sometimes we leave it more in the abstract, and we just go over and hang out at each other's houses. Sometimes we just go help somebody else with chopping up wood. Not because it does anything for us, but because, hey, I want to spend time with this guy, I want to help him out, let's go do this. This is how tribal alliances are formed. This is how tribes themselves are formed. Now again, there's the formalized aspect of gift giving within Sumbul, wherein, there is a gift for gift. You do keep track of those. You keep a log of what has been given, because you need to give in kind in order to honor that person the way they have honored you, and that builds the ties. That doesn't necessarily have to be something that happens then and there, but it is something that needs to be remembered for future rituals so that you can respond without waiting too long. If somebody gives you something in the spring, a return gift in summer or fall is appropriate, especially if it's at Sumbul like they gifted you, because by giving during Sumbul, that really ties those ties of weird, because you are actively putting words and deeds into the well in the ritual of Sumbul. You are pouring into the well of weird at that moment. You are actively, directly connecting with it in ritual, which is more direct than the process that we go through in our daily lives. That takes a little bit of time to settle and build in. This is a direct line of pour straight into the well. The horn is the funnel into the well, if you will. And so by gift giving, that really cements that in ritual, because you have the attention of the gods and goddesses, you have the attention of your ancestors, you have the attention of the folk around you. There are many, many lines being tied here because everyone is bearing witness to this gift. So it doesn't just build the ties between the two that are giving the gift, but also draws from the weird of everyone else around to help strengthen that point. So it creates a very, very strong focal point. So you really, really, really want to reciprocate appropriately. If there is a formalized gift given in Sumbul, you really need to return that gift if you want to protect the relationship with that individual. They may not care. If they don't necessarily get the whole gift-giving thing, if they're new to heathenry or whatnot, maybe they didn't even really expect all that much from it. But it still matters on a metaphysical, spiritual level, because those energies are exchanged, and you need to cement that tie in the well in order for it to be strong. So now we've discussed the formalized aspect of gift giving within ritual, but when it comes to the informal gift giving of, say, within a tribe, within an Ingard, within your Frith yard, this is something that I tend not to keep as much of a track on, because it's family, Now with folk community, yeah, I'll keep track of it because I need to reciprocate in kind. But when it comes to my Ingard, when it comes to my family, I don't keep track anymore. I tried 2 years ago, but honestly, the little things that you do for each other, the give and give and give and give, eventually you can't keep track because you're always doing. And the tit for tat thing just doesn't have a place in that tight a knit. I mean, your weird is so interwoven at that point that it doesn't even matter at that point. Mathematically, it all comes out in the wash. It averages out. So when you've got somebody like that you're giving with, and when I say giving, especially when it comes to the Inengard, keep in mind it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It's time, it's attention, it's all those things that we've talked about before. And it's the effort, it's the energy. And it builds over time. Like with my Jarls, I try and give to my Jarls as much as they give to me. But sometimes it feels like I can't keep up. These guys are very giving. They're very awesome. And so I do what I can because I don't want them to feel taken for granted. Like I don't appreciate what they do for me. And so, especially when you're in a higher position where you have more people responsible to you, that's a lot more people you have to pay out to. So you got to keep these things in mind and keep the balance, keep things evened out. It's the same thing in life, as far as with any of our Inengard. If you're giving attention and time to one individual in your Inengard, you have to keep the balance as well with others if you want to keep those relationships good and strong. But essentially what it boils down to is that naturally you just want to give. Naturally you just want to do for them because they are people that matter to you. It is our natural inclination as human beings to want to do for those that matter to us. Okay? I'm not going to go so far as to say that generosity is an intrinsic human characteristic, because it's not necessarily true when it comes to strangers on the street. That's a whole different thing, a whole different debate I don't want to get into on here. But within our own innengard, within our natural organic tribes that we build, yes, it is a natural inclination to be generous with those individuals, at least to try. And so, of course, we have our limitations. And that's where you can get into the subject of overgiving. Overgiving does as much damage as not giving at all sometimes. Because if you give more than a person can reciprocate, it puts them in a bind. They either dishonor you by not giving in kind, or they put themselves in a financial bind by overgiving. So these are elements that we have to think about as far as the gift-giving elements when we build our communities, when we build our rituals, when we build families, innengard. Think about gift for gift. Don't necessarily get caught up in the tit for tat when it comes to innengard. Focus there on just being giving, being free with that. The more giving and free you are, the happier you will be because they will be there for you. Your weird will be tied. Your luck will be strong. The more you give, the stronger your luck will be because the more is given back to you. You pay out a little to get more in return. Okay? It's investments. It's investment banking in a spiritual sense. You are giving so that you will get more in return. Build those relationships that way and just focus on being giving with those that matter. Now, when it comes to the formalized, ritualized structure of gift giving, keep track of that and try to give in kind. Keep up that social contract. And again, it will pay dividends. So the whole thing is how we build and how we develop Frith within the social construct. So, thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, give me a comment down in the sections below. Feedback helps me to make this channel better, helps me to give you guys what you want to see, and, might let me know where I'm going wrong or if there's some kind of audio problem I'm not aware of. That's happened before. So, the more you interact with my videos, the more you're going to see my videos pop up in your newsfeed. One, because I'm going to do more videos. Two, because the YouTube algorithms are going to throw more of them at you because you say, I'm interested in this. But it's not just about me, guys. The more you interact with heathen videos in general, the more heathen videos you're going to see up in your news feed. So interact with mine so you can see others like me. Okay? So I also have a Facebook group called Word Weaver Productions. It's Word-Weaver Productions. You can find me on there. It's an open group. Send a request. I approve everybody that comes on there. It's a way to keep up with the videos, keep up with news on what's going on with the channel. I get information from you guys. I get feedback from you guys. Sometimes I'll poll you about stuff, but I always post up the videos for this and my other show, Weaving Words, which is a storytelling show that I do, where I share my stories with you guys, and hopefully you enjoy that. We talk a little bit about the art of storytelling. So check it out. Check out the Facebook group. Feedback on the YouTube channel, and I will see you guys around. Hail. Have a good day.